Let's go back and introduce you to the history of our university. In 1989, School of Art and Architecture was established. Then in 2000, School of Engineering and Technology was established along with School of Business. In 2010, we established School of Design. In 2014, we established School of Law and School of Health Sciences. 2015 saw the establishment of Vatel Hotel and Tourism Business School. And in 2018, our most recent establishment was School of Planning and Development. All the 8 schools are a cohesive part of Sushant University. Now let us give you a tour of our campus. Today, in the era of constant change, education isn't just about learning facts. It requires a blend of practical experience and training to nurture talent. We at Sushant University promise you the education that is not limited to the textbooks. Here we offer you an experience and pure joy of practical knowledge.
I, the Vice Chancellor, Dr. D.N.S. Kumar, welcome you all to this temple of knowledge. With 8 contemporary schools that we have, our focus is towards building higher education which is contemporary, which is applied, and which can build the perspective for global development.
In the heart of India's largest hub of national and Fortune 500 companies, Sushant University Gurugram offers a wide range of professional courses under 8 schools, from architecture and design to engineering, planning and development to law, and from hospitality and management to health sciences. Our academic collaborations with more than 15 international universities give them global exposure of unmatched standards.
We are not only in the middle of all the multinationals, but also in the middle of the most vibrant startup culture in India that gives an opportunity for our students to learn the most amazing advanced skills which are required by the industry.
The legacy of Chiranjeev Charitable Trust in the realm of higher education goes back to 1989. This was a time when, to bridge the gap in Indian architectural education, Mr. Sushil Ansal laid the foundation of Sushant School of Art and Architecture. Under the guidance of Padma Shri M.M. Rana, the late fellow of Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation, the school made its mark in the field of architectural education. The trust expanded to establish the Ansal Institute of Technology in the year 2000. The Sushant School of Design was instituted a decade later in 2010. It was in the year 2012 when Sushant Group of Institutions came under the Ansal University. In 2020, we changed our name to Sushant University. Sushant University has been awarded the National Education Excellence Award for Best Private University in North India 2017, along with CSR Excellence in Education for 2 consecutive years, 2017 and 2018. School of Art and Architecture at Sushant University is the flagship school which has been consistently ranked #1 private architecture school in India. At Sushant University, the course curriculum is designed as per the industry demand, which makes our students industry ready.
We are a 30-year-old school with an enormous network of alumni who are settled all over the world. We offer B.Sc program and 4 master's programs. These programs are accredited by Council of Architecture. We are also positioning our school internationally, so we work very closely with the University of Westminster and Bartlett.
I feel architecture is what is learned in conversations with our teachers, with the faculty, with other people in the same field.
We recently had the International Planning and Architecture Conclave, where we invited a lot of international and national faces to our college, where we were able to interact with them one-on-one.
India, of course, is famous, is well known for its craft, but beyond craft, what we are now excited about is that there is an amalgamation of craft and technology. We are also part of the bigger university and part of very so close to the Sushant School of Art and Architecture. We tie up with the University Arts College Bournemouth in London. Students go there at the end of their foundation course for 3-4 week summer program. We also have a tie-up with King Mongkut University of Technology in Thailand.
Bachelor Hotel and Tourism Business School is a premium institution which offers hospitality management education to the students. Our USP for this program is industrial training of the students right from the first year to the fourth year, giving them a lot of industry exposure and experience.
Vatel course is for 4 years as of now in India, and we are the only ones who are offering a specialty course in the 4th year. And here at the campus, we have got about 4 running kitchens, 2 restaurants. The one that's supposed to be the new one, that's called as Vatel Epicure, and we always encourage kids to be a part of it. They have been learning about the cocktails, mocktails, they've been learning about master classes from people from Nestle, and that is how the kids here are growing.
The faculty here is amazing. They answer all your doubts and your queries, and they help you along the way. They'll teach you in and out of the industry completely.
School of Engineering and Technology has a 20-year-old legacy. The main USPs of the schools are experiential learning, hands-on training, in addition to their learning about the basics of engineering. We have collaborations with world-renowned universities, University of West of England, Bristol, UK. We also have industrial collaborations with Lucidius, where we are running our flagship program in B.Tech and cybersecurity.
From disciplinary to transdisciplinary, from classroom learning to innovation, from theory to practice, from a student to a professional. This is the kind of transition we are aimed at in giving to all our students at School of Law, Ansel University, Gurugram. We are proud to say that we are ranked #1 promising law school by GHRDC 2019.
School of Health Sciences has many professional degree courses other than the MBBS and nursing. We have collaborations with the industry, not only from India but international collaborations which train these students on the best of techniques which are in the world.
School of Business is a new age business school which prides itself for its experiential learning and high class teaching pedagogy. School of Business has some amazing tie-ups, one of which is with the University of Warwick, UK. We have also tied up with organizations like SEMA of UK, ACCA of UK and the Institute of Analytics in UK.
Under the Corporate Resource Center, practical workshops and internships are an integral part of the curriculum. With more than 250 recruiters, Sushant University gives a kick-start to your career. Come and be a part of the Center of Excellence.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this webinar and panel discussion session. So on behalf of Sushant University, School of Art and Architecture, I welcome you all to this session. Today's topic is going to be about taming the urban machine. Now this topic is very special and it is talking about our urban environment. This topic is being taken under the School of Art and Architecture with its new program, that is Bachelor of Science Building Projects. Next, please. Myself, Tanya Verma, Program Director for B.Sc Building Projects, and the Undergraduate Program Head, Sushant Art and Architecture School. Today, I would like to be your moderator, I'll say the host for this webinar session. I am an architect by profession with over 20 years academic experience, and I'm currently in the process of completing my PhD in the study of climate responsive vernacular architecture of Bikaner. And next, please. So today I have my very dear friend, architect Himanshu Sanghani, Associate Dean, Sushant Art School of Art and Architecture. He has a B.Arch from IEC College of Architecture, Mumbai. He has double master's degree first from India in environment architecture, and later he did environmental engineering and sustainable infrastructure from Sweden. He has worked as program and policy analyst and as an architect with World Bank, International Finance Corporation, German government, and UN, assisting them in the facilitation of the vast ranges of their programs, from promotion of clean energy to women's safety issues in New Delhi. He has joined Sushant School of Art and Architecture in 2012. Welcome, Himanshu.
Thank you, Tanaya. Thank you so much for having me here today.
So today we are going to discuss our new program, and rightly, I am very glad that you could join us today. So we want to first understand why this course is so important, and just to have this discussion, I'll take you through few of the slides where we are going to see how the urban environment has shaped up. Now, very aptly, we are looking now, it's more than a house or a built environment. It has gone beyond the scales of our building, and the infrastructure projects are so huge and humongous. It's apt to call them as urban machines. You can see here the example of the Burj Khalifa. It is currently the tallest building built structure on earth, and this is the skyline for Gurgaon, the place where we all are right now. Sushant University is situated in Gurgaon, and we have seen this place transform so very rapidly in the past few years. So if this is the kind of cities that we are going to fast inhabit, and the challenges that these cities bring in, the kind of infrastructure growth that we foresee happening in these cities, the kind of population explosion, the advent of technology into the building. So how do you see the role of an architect versus how do you see where the architect's role ends and where these new engineers, or I'll say the new technical people, because these buildings are the forte of an architect, but running these buildings, taming these machines, keep them agile, keep them working, keep them in that whole groove that it is sustainable, it is functioning well for its occupant. How do you see this current trend? So let's start with few discussion, and then we can move to the slides as well.
Sure, Tanay. First of all, thank you for having me on this panel discussion. And I think in today's time, this type of discussion is very much needed, where society is moving towards technology, or rather wanting technology at their doorstep, at their feet, and trying to be more agile in this area. In these two pictures, I mean, first Burj Khalifa, which is the tallest tower, and our own Gurgaon city. More than urban machine, I would call these buildings as living machines. And I mean, a minute of its failure will literally stop everything around it. So these machines, they are energy hungry, they are resource hungry, they are a machine which overpowers a particular city and shadows a particular understanding of what a building typology is, and how it's going to function, and that really demarcates and depicts the modernity of any city. So these urban machines slash living machines are really energy guzzlers, and they take in a lot of resources from the city. But these machines are envisioned by an architect, naturally. But it's not just that the architect envisions and automatically it gets developed. There are various other members included, or they participate in shaping these kind of visions. So although architect is the prime coordinator of these living machines, but then there are project managers, there are various consultants, there are energy consultants, lighting consultants, MEP, firefighting consultants that gets roped in order to make that vision come true. So it's a combination of both an architect as well as these consultants or coordinators or even contractors for that matter. I mean, architects' ideology of having these kind of urban plus living machine simply would stay on paper if the contractors don't come into picture or if these consultants don't come into picture. So in order to actually make it real, though architect is a prime coordinator, but these consultants and contractors and executioners and project managers really put in their hard efforts into making these machines as living machines. So it's a combination of these two aspects, these two dynamic roles that we can see, architect plus various consultants. And when they come together, they put out these kind of living machine that we see right now, and that's on which what we are discussing about. But like a 50-50 ratio. So I think both play an equal role, an equal part, but yes, the emphasis lies on the executioners, the project managers and the consultants who are playing a bigger part of the role in making this idea a successful idea. So I think it's a combination of both, and one will not be able to survive if the other is not there. So it's a very important point that you have raised, that what is the role of an architect versus what is the role of these consultants.
So very nicely put, Himanshu. I should have got that idea earlier, naming it as living machines. And that gives me so many newer ideas as to the people required to keep these machines living and habitable. So as you have rightly said, that the architect's vision is brought to life by the consultant, and the force of people behind the material, the vendors, the mason, and it's a whole team of people who bring it all together. And
correct. And I would like to also add here that now the way architectural designs are coming out and the kind of technology that has come out as well, though manpower is required to run and operate these living machines, but simultaneously people are more and more investing into artificial intelligence too. So soon there will be a day where buildings will be automatically operated and maintained through this kind of technology, where the manpower will be just to monitor what artificial intelligence is actually doing, but the whole AI will run the whole show.
That's our future beholds for us. And also, like you said, we have looked at the part of the initial concept stage where nowadays we observe that there is not a single person as a client. There is a big conglomeration, or I'll say an organization, which envisages a project, and they are the ones who commission an architect on the project. So the role of the person who license, or I say the role of the person who develops the design brief or helps finding or floating a competition for the architects to pitch in, or getting the necessary approvals from the body. Like we have seen huge projects like the airport projects, the new one coming up at Jaywar, which is being developed by PwC as a consultant, and they have hired the architect. They are going to look into other people. So this is how these, so the role of this licensing person, or somebody who has the knowledge of buildings, who has the knowledge of the policy, and who has the knowledge of what the clients want, the financing, the managerial aspects. So how do you see the role of this new, I'll say the new, the new form of manager who has this special skill set?
As I mentioned earlier, it's a combination. These living machines need that kind of administrator or a person to look after both the ends. What the architects really want, and second, what the contractors or the executioners they really want. So, in this era where research, innovation, and governance, these three key element holds an important part, and unless and until we don't have the amalgamation of these three areas, the idea with which one moves forward, especially the architect, will not take place. And administrators like these, or the as we have put up the licensing person, if he is not involved in what kind of research goes into shaping these kind of buildings, what are the innovative technologies that are being harbored by a lot of these companies or who are coming out with these ideas, and thirdly the governance as to how one should really manage what the architect or the research part is and what the innovation where the technology part is, and if that person is not able to govern these two aspects, the idea with which both these entities are moving forward will not take place. So it's this person, this administrator is the key person to have that constant dialogue and a continuous dialogue between the architect and the client and the consultant. And he is one person who will be able to bring all the things together. I remember my first job. After graduation, I was working in New Bombay, and I was working on the railway station because my team in which I was placed, that particular team only managed airports and railway stations. So I was lucky enough to, as you put up that example of Jewar airports, I was lucky enough to work on these large scale projects. And my immediate team had said that you are going to look after all the meetings for this particular project. And my daily commute from my office to New Bombay was almost 1.5 hours to quarter to 2 hours. And so 9 o'clock these meetings would start, so I need to leave my place at 7 o'clock. But then I realized that I'm the person who's going to interact with the client, with architect's team, which is my own team, and the consultant. So in a way, I felt that okay, I'm that person, administrator, who's actually liaising between these three entities, and unless and until I'm not clear as to what I want to bring on the table, these three entities will not be able to bond together. That is why this particular administrator or licensing person or whatever we want to call it is the key person, is the main person to bind all these 3-4 entities together so that there is a successful project, so that we see the aesthetics and the vision of an architect as well as the consultants, what they implied upon, holds true, comes true, and we come out with a marvelous, beautiful structure. As you can see in this slide, all the structures from 250 meters to going to 1 kilometer, these marvelous structures are a symbol of the ginormous idea and the vision that one really carries, and highlighting that yes, this is a landmark building of that particular city, and the city gets remembered or known by these landmarks. And that is only possible if this administrator has these three components aligned with each other, which is research, innovation, and governance, through his learning or through his experience.
So now with this technology reaching the sky, I'll say, is the sky the only limit, or are we going to reach beyond the sky as well? So you can see, and you have already commented here, so these buildings are huge and big, humongous buildings. And at any given time, there are lots of these buildings have been the backdrop for many of the movies. Some are thrillers and some are totally based on the movie, on the building itself. So there we see there are so many gadgets, or I'll say not exactly gadgets, there are systems that are installed in a building to make these buildings efficient. So it could be the elevator systems, the surveillance is there. There are people who man and operate and keep these huge buildings, like the power system, the air conditioning, the water supply. There are so many things that go. It's like if you look at the tallest building, it's more like a small city in itself. So the role of the person, or I'll say the architect, has to plan in a perfect manner so that the building will function for its life in a smooth order. Similarly, the people who are going to be trained to take care of this building have to be robust. And these people have to know their jobs. So this is the new kind of employability sector, I'll say, or the new kind of graduates which are required to take care of these buildings or to function and make these buildings worthy for people to inhabit. So
Absolutely.
Can we move to the next slide, please, Tara? Yeah, so this is one example I like to discuss. This is the Edge Amsterdam, and the greenest building of the world, and also it is the smartest building of the world. This has got both these titles. It is an office building, and it is for the client. The client is Deloitte. It is again a consulting firm, and this building it's an expression in itself where lots of innovations, or I'll say Internet of Things, has been embedded into the functioning of the building. The kind of resource it saves for the occupant, as well as the efficiency levels that the building reach, the building responds to its user. Now, this is something totally new. You mentioned it in the start as well, that slowly we are going to go to the future where the buildings are going to be coming alive, and we require people to just see the upkeep of these buildings. Now, this is just a peek into the near future, and this is very much here now. So this building is a great example of people who are technologically sound and also totally abreast with a cutting edge innovation in the Internet of Things, or AI and machine learning. And how do you see the future with such examples coming up?
It's a very pertinent point that you have raised here, because in the previous slide where we compared all the the tall building and the tallest building in the world, where the designs were laid out some 10 years ago or 15 years ago, the technology then what prevailed. The designs were given out, or the designs were laid out according to the technology then. And at that point of time, people were still working on the idea of sustainability. Newer forms of sustainable design were being laid out, but still the concern of energy guzzling buildings but was prevailing, and it showcased that any new design at that point of time that would come out will consume some sort of energy. But after 15 years, here lies the example where the idea of sustainability is seeping in more deeply, more powerfully amongst the clients, amongst the users, architects, or any consultant that you want to take in. And slowly and steadily, I think in another 10, 15 years, we will be moving in a dimension where the employee of any office building or any organization, he or she, whenever he or she is entering into the building, it will be contactless. It will be more on the lines of what our requirements are, what our needs are, what kind of space we need and require, and what kind of experience also we really need. I mean, for example, in Google, you have these sleep pods, because the coders and the employee of Google, they're constantly and continuously working. breaking the norms of the cyber network and trying to come out with new ideas. So they need some sleep, 1 hour or maybe half hour of power nap. And they have these sleep pods in which they can sleep comfortably without any disturbance and then move. So that kind of demarcates the experience and the setting that they want. And slowly these commercial buildings, these office buildings are moving in that direction where the need and the requirement of the user is predetermined, and accordingly the buildings are designed. So in that case, the key element here is one, the user experience, second, the technology that we are implementing, third is the overall sustainability in terms of energy, in terms of waste, in terms of uh, heating or cooling, whatever is required is understood beforehand. And those kind of elements, those kind of equipments, machines, technology is installed where the building would be able to operate at a much lower consumption. And we are slowly moving in that dimension. And another 10 years it will take to actually have these kind of ideas all over the city and not just in one or two cases or example. But these understandings will be from the person, the kind of idea and the concept that we discussed previously, that the administrator will have to be abreast about all such innovation and be in that limelight so that he can be at a position with great confidence and tell the architect that this is what is available in the market, and tell the consultant that this is what you're going to do, and sit with the architect to actually execute. So it's a very pertinent and important point to have these kind of consultants who can really understand these kind of projects which are going to surface in next 10 years across the world.
Yeah. So here we are almost both agreeing to a point where the buildings are going to be very technology heavy. They will be programmable. They will be responding to certain fed-in data, and this will obviously make it more user-centric as well as easy to function, energy saving, sustainable, net progressing towards net zero. So this whole new idea is leading us to someone or a graduate who can work in this direction, and it will be obviously
Absolutely.
very helpful if there is a formal training given to such kind of professionals, because right now what we see is a clear I'll say clear baskets laid out where we have the architect, we have the structural engineer, we have the civil engineering professionals, and we have the engineering professionals where there are these management consultants also. So these are their individual domains, and people through their interest and their expertise have tried to venture into this new paradigm of building industry. But yes, again, they are not completely, I'll say, not technically sound because they have learned it on the job. So do you agree to this point that there is a big void in the industry for a trained professional who can understand design, who can understand the technology, be able to manage, and also understand the humane aspects of the dealing with people? So do you think there is a requirement?
Yes, there is a huge requirement, because the current project managers or the administrators who are actually managing the project, they are functioning based on what they have learned in the institutions through their civil engineering or any other stream of engineering that they have picked up during their studies. And based on their experience, they are executing the architect's vision. But with this example, the Edge in Amsterdam, where it's an emerging field and more clients plus architects are venturing into this particular field, and there are barely few administrators who can really understand or bring the idea of an architect plus the contractor on the table collectively and have a joint discourse and then move forward at a pace where everybody understands each other. So there are very few such project managers who understand these, and plus it is so important for these administrators to look into the technological aspect as well, because nowadays both the client as well as the architect are venturing into newer technologies. They want to engage in these innovative ways of uh, executing building or even visualizing their own building, like for example virtual reality. Now both architects as well as clients are demanding virtual reality as one of the methods to envision these kind of projects. So if the administrator or the person understands these kind of technology, he'll be able to make everybody feel happy about how the project is moving forward. And there is a huge gap. I completely agree with the question that you have raised. There's a huge gap in the field of architecture where the emerging technologies, though everybody wants it, but there are very few people who can actually handle it. And these kind of administrators, through this program, if they are out there in the society, the new emerging field will come up, and a new dynamism will come in the city and the society, where everybody will start seeing the execution of any building as a collaborative effort and not just put it on architect.
That's very aptly put, Himanshu. That really motivates and encourages the young professional, because this is a whole new employability ready avenue that I'll say this course. If a graduate does this course, it is a huge potential, and ready market is available for these graduates. So I will like to introduce this course that School of Art and Architecture has deliberated, and doing that industry research and taking guidance from experts like you, we have come up with this course. This is the B.Sc in Building Projects. Now, we have already established that there is a huge requirement of these graduates who can understand the architect, or they understand the architect's role, understand the client, understand the market, understand the policy and the context surrounding around it, get to know the builder contractors as well, and is going to play the role of the licensing person or the main anchor point in dealing with all these stakeholders of a built project. So I'll just like to deliberate on as we move further on these slides. Can we have the next one, please? So Sushant, the university, so School of Art and Architecture is a premium institute in Asia. And under this flagship School of Architecture, we are starting with this new program, that is B.Sc Building Projects. So here also, I'll say the graduates or the students stand a very good chance to build a rapport with fellow architects who are also studying in the institution alongside. And in this process, they will be developing a healthy relationship with the architects, as well as understand the nuances of the architecture profession also as they move along. And similarly, the architecture students or the architects, the budding architects, will also develop synergetic relationship with the B.Sc Building Project graduates and help them in their future projects and endeavors. Next, please. So this is the course detail here. So B.Sc Building Project is approved by the Haryana government, and it is an admission is through class 12th, and it is open to all science, commerce, humanities background students. And the process of admission is going to be application plus interview. Next, please. So yes, we like to have your comments here also, because this is the profile of the graduate who is going to take this course. So the profile of the graduate is going to be, as we discussed in the session earlier, building project graduates are qualified to offer services for design execution and manage projects from inception to completion. They lead the technology design of the project, forming the link between concept, innovation, and realization. With the demand and opportunity for professionally qualified construction, facility, and workplace managers at an all-time high, this degree draws on the range of disciplines from technology, finance, to risk management, leadership, to project management and operation management, to innovation and business development. So this is the whole array of prospects that a graduate has once he completes this course. And this course is corporate ready. It is having the potential of being 100% employability ready. Next, please. So the core subject baskets are going to be technology, management, social skills, and ethics. These are the broad baskets of subjects that the student enrolled for this course is going to study as he progresses along. Next, please. So a few of the highlights of the course here is that it is flexible, so the student can choose his own path of trajectory of growth by way of electives. It is multidisciplinary, as we have already seen. It touches upon science, technology, humanities, leadership, and multidisciplinary, and it prepares you for the multidisciplinary world. Emphasis on conceptual understanding rather than rote learning. So it is a more practical oriented course where the students are going to be having hands-on experience in dealing with all these subjects and understanding how they get implemented in a real world scenario. Creativity and critical thinking is going to be encouraged because these are life problems, I'd say real life issues. Suddenly we are engulfed in this pandemic situation and the whole urban infrastructure has to be relooked from a newer perspective of people maintaining social distancing and safety of the people. So again, these are real challenges and the person has to think out of the box to be active and agile. Ethics and human constitutional values are very important because it's going to deal with the human habitation and people in this built environment. Life skills such as communication, cooperation, teamwork, resilience is also an integral part. Extensive use of technology that we have already stressed upon, that the course is going to be bearing on technology and how these are going to revolutionize the whole built environment. Lok Vidya, or I'll say the traditional crafts of the place or the native craft and tradition and culture and fine arts are also going to be taught here because they form an integral part of our environment. And focusing on formative assessments throughout your curriculum. Next, please. So this is one slide, Himanshu. We'd like to have your inputs as well. So few listed career options for the students, be it in terms of entrepreneurship or corporate jobs, facility or real estate, then licensing firms or being a project manager. And also from entrepreneurship can be a real estate consultant, building contractor, turnkey projects, or MEP specialist. So how do you see this panning out for the young graduate? And
it's really very interesting to see as an architect and a policy and program analyst. I chose to become a program and policy analyst because I was interested in these kind of government-related projects or donor agency projects. So, and as a teacher, I always tell students that after you graduate or after you become an architect, the world is open to you, and you can become anyone and anything. But those anyone cannot become an architect. Because the kind of experience that you have, because architecture is mother of all arts, so the kind of experience that you have, those anyone will not possess it and will not be able to utilize it. And architecture gives you that kind of practice wherein if tomorrow you want to move your lane and then want to come back as an architect, you can always do. Similarly, I have the kind of employability range that you have put up here has a similarity with the architecture program. So a consultant or an administrator or the licensing person will not be just called as a executioner. He can be a part of facility. He can be a part of uh, building or real estate development. He can actually set up his own organization and start up the turnkey services, because he will possess both the ideologies of what an architect would possess, simultaneously the skill sets of those contractors or executioners who's helping the architect to fructify his vision. So with that similarity, I think it's very important to lay out a particular channel for all the students or all the graduates who join this program, that after you graduate, what are the possibilities that are there in front of you, and what you can really pick up to shape your own career path. And this range is really a strong and a powerful range of employability that you have showcased here, because it's not just limited to one commercial setup. It ranges into different other domains, just like architecture. And that will really give the student a powerful message that you can become anyone, and simultaneously you can do anything. So it's really interesting to see this particular slide.
Thanks. And I really feel that it opens the wide horizon, and he can create his own trajectory of career possibilities, or start up his own consultancy, or take up a job. So this flexibility is there with the graduate once he's done this course.
Very much.
Next slide, please. So just to elaborate on what Himanshu has mentioned here, so if the forte is in technical, then there are so many other options available to the student. He can become an electrical systems consultant, or consultant for this particular area and services. There is this whole system of fire safety systems, HVAC, we already know. Then these whole building, or these huge buildings, are also having the digi operations and backup systems. So these are all the technical sides. If somebody is interested in the technical, each one of these is an important aspect depending upon the forte of the student here. It could be in terms of CCTV and surveillance, then access control, water supply, parking management. Parking is in managing these huge spaces is also a challenge. Electronic surveillance, and how newer technology is coming up to assist parking and give a real-time data as to how much parking is available. So these are also system-generated avenues. It's not manually controlled. So somebody has to take care of all these aspects. Similarly, we have building of. Yeah, sure, please. Yes.
Can I pitch in? This really showcases the kind of world in which we are living. Just if the entire world is moving towards technology is based on data, and one has rightly said that those who possesses the data controls the world. So in this case, where you have highlighted 3 different columns talking about technical maintenance and operations, operation services, and support systems, everything is based on data and the information. So for this particular program, building information systems or building information management systems will require that kind of powerful and strong data. And that particular data, perhaps an architect will not be possessing it, either the client or the several other consultants, except this one student or one person who has taken up this role, and he understands that what an architect needs and what the consultant really needs, and he's the one who will be possessing the data. And if in that picture or picture frame where architect, the administrator of this program, and the graduate of this program and the consultant, if the graduate of this program is out of that picture, both the architect and the consultant will not be able to function, because this is the guy who holds the powerful thing in his hand, which is the data. And through this program, he can actually champion this idea. So I think this particular program will really, give the students, give the applicants a clear-cut indication that they are the key people in the role, in this role, and in the communication between the three entities.
Perfect. That's very aptly put. Similarly, we have these building operations. So if somebody is not wanting to get their hands dirty or get into the belly of the building, as it under, so then there are the operations. Lots of human resource is also present in the building, which needs to be managed, and so it could be the security services systems, the housekeeping, the waste management. Now with newer guidelines of composting and recycling of the waste generated in the building itself on the site. So all these championing all these causes are also very important. One has to be totally abreast as to what modern technology is offering, how odorless and how clean these waste recycling systems are there. Similarly, pest control services, there are various kinds of site conditions which can crop up. So again, upkeep of these buildings, facade is an important aspect. There are lots of these pop-up arts installation depending upon the season, depending upon the festivities, depending upon any such events. So again, if somebody is more interested into the art side, can also become a specialist in just this one aspect of pop-up arts at these bigger urban installation, or I'll say the buildings where it is required. Somebody can be totally in charge of just the events and infrastructure. So you see how vast this array, or I'll say the palette is so vast, where somebody can take up electrical from the same course, and somebody can go into event management and event infrastructure also from branching out from the same course here. Similarly, we have the building support services. Now there are quality controls, because a building, as Manshu has rightly put, is a living machine. So the living machine will require lots of wear and tear and lots of upkeep. So somebody has to be knowledgeable enough to understand the design and technology and the quality control in terms of the material that is going in for retrofitting, for upkeep, for maintenance. Help desk, customer service. So for all the commercial establishment, lots of resource going for those. Tenders and contracting is a very niche and specialized field itself, where somebody who understands the requirement can frame the tenders and ask for the contracts to be built in. So again, these are desk jobs, I'll say. If somebody is more interested into the managerial side, the third column, or I'll say the third column gets you the desk job of a manager, where you're listening and meeting with people, doing lots of meetings, vendors, contractors, clients. So these are just to name a few. As a student, after 5 years, we'll get to know much more details as to where our graduates are placed, and we can add them to the list here as well. And these are going to be managers who are going to manage people on site. They are not the people on the site. They are going to manage the people in each of these streams. Next, please. So this is a course which is equipped heavily on skill and leads you to a leadership role. And it is divided into knowledge, skill, the assimilation of knowledge, which leads to creation towards your final year. So this is a 3+1 year degree course, a 3-year B.Sc course you can graduate with, or you can graduate with a 4 years honors program, B.Sc honors in one of your chosen specialization. Next, please. So there are many employers who are awaiting and wanting eagerly for such graduates to join in their workforce. It can be international firms like JLL, local, or I'll say Indian players like Enviro and Nimbus Harbour. Next, please. There are many more employers who are available, and this is a very leading industry. So students are very much required by these people, and these are just few brands here which are wanting professionals from such background. Next, please. So this is a basic structure of the course. It is divided into 6 semesters, and it is going to be heavy on, as we said, the baskets: technology, management, social, and the electives. So this electives becomes your specialization, and if the specialization is taken into the 4th year, it will earn you an honors in your chosen field of specialization. And there is an inbuilt internship program within the semester where the theory which is learnt in the classroom is getting implemented in the real world case scenario of an internship, where the student goes into the industry and spends 4 weeks seeing the application of all the theories that have been learnt in school. Next, please. So you will have 12 weeks of theory on campus, 4 weeks of internships, and spread across the 3 years, it will become 24 weeks of total internship program, clubbed with the summer internship, which a student can choose his own internship anywhere in the world. And this will, once the student is ready to graduate, will give him 44 weeks of certification of internship, which makes him a very employable, ready professional where he has already experienced the industry. Next, please. So these are the few of the basic lines where the specialism can take you. It can be in building information system, emerging technologies, project management, facility management, human resource, or real estate. So depending upon the forte, the student can choose the elective track that he wants to pursue further. Next, please. Sushant University also has a tie-up with Harvard Business School, and we provide online courses which are inbuilt into the curriculum, and the student can take these courses for his added advantage and also get a Harvard's degree also. Next, please. So that sums up the course details here, and we'll have the marketing links here, or I'll say the link of the marketing people, where if you have any queries regarding admission or you want to get in touch with more details about this course, you can get in touch with us. The marketing can forward these queries to me and to Himanshu for further clarifications also. So Himanshu, I'd like to thank you for giving us your time and such valuable thoughts, and I'm surely going to note it, the living machine, in my presentation, because that's a very wonderful and a apt term which puts this whole thing into the right perspective. Thank you for joining us and giving your time.
It is my pleasure, Tanay, and what can I say? I think the whole presentation actually led to that understanding that, you know, what many residents or citizens of a city, they don't realize that how to operate or to maintain any building. And now that we are moving into more advanced technology, what kind of skill sets are required? And I guess through this program, those skill sets will be achieved and implemented simultaneously in coming years, and automatically this will create a niche market for everyone. So thank you so much for having me on board for this panel discussion, and I'm pretty sure this will lead up to a good catch on what the systems are in place, and what the new systems are going to come in, and how we are supposed to deal with that. And this program will really help all these candidates to tackle these situations. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Himanshu. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Farah, for coordinating this. And students, if you have any doubts or query, you can get in touch with Dipti or Surbi. And we are awaiting you. We would love to host you on campus. Thank you for joining the session.
And thank you, IT team of Sushant University, for diligently holding this presentation for us. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.